cherry blossom tree is officially coming to Minecraft 1.20, something that was a big surprise to many. However, some people mentioned, actually, wasn't this announced over a decade ago? And yes, it actually was. Many people even pointing directly to my video saying 20 things coming to Minecraft, not in the next update, but at some point in the future. And in that video, cherry blossom trees are directly mentioned. In fact, there are 19 other features that are mentioned as coming to Minecraft at some point in the vague future that you might assume never came to the game. But after going through and checking, I found a surprising number of modern day updates actually had their basis in announcements from back then, which is incredible to see. But speaking of seeing, if you were able to see in the year 2015, then you should subscribe to the channel to see more informative Minecraft videos. And yeah, that was a very shameless way to say that everyone should subscribe, but maybe they should. Speaking of things everyone should do is appreciate the oceans, because Mojang knew back in 2015 that the oceans were in a dire state. There was nothing in them, and they wanted to add corals, fish, ambient visuals, and ambient audio, which is interesting because they really added this to Minecraft story mode before they added it to Minecraft, but eventually in 2018 they added this as well as a whole bunch more. In fact, this was really the basis of an entire update, because we not only saw the coral blocks, the coral itself, as well as the fish mobs being able to swim around the ocean physically, which was a great amount of ambience, but it also added color temperatures, so there were different types of ocean with different colors and different blocks at the surface. But then as well as that, there was the ability to find dolphins and turtles. The seabed was covered in kelp and sea pickles and shipwrecks. There was so much added to the oceans that the ocean ambience was not only something they slightly did, they themed an entire update around it, and so that is a big win. That is one going towards the column of things they did. In fact, they well overachieved it. But one thing done, 0 things not done is what you might say until you hear about the second thing, because it's crazy. Ocean ambience sounds like a lot of work, and they managed to get it done anyway, but the thing that sounds like a lot less work is the idea of an animated swinging door. This was something that they had tested at the time. They wanted to have some form of animation rather than what we have right now, which is just you know, the noises are nice, but it needs to be an animation. And so they've just basically worked out that this isn't a fun thing they really want to add. If you make it so it swings and hits you in the face, is that fun gameplay mechanic? If the animation means nothing, then is there any point to that? And so they've decided not to add this after all that time, which I guess you could probably count as like, well, if they decided it wasn't a good idea for Minecraft, they didn't add it, but they didn't add it regardless, and so this is one in the didn't add column. Speaking of things they didn't add, you wouldn't be able to describe that as the new ore and cave types. This was the third feature mentioned in that video, and honestly, although I would argue they didn't fully get this because they said new ores, technically speaking, there are multiple new ores. There's never gold, as well as never, as well as the fact that we have the brand new copper ore in the overworld, but new cave types is something they well over-delivered on. Having new caves in Minecraft is something that is a really good idea. It's something they perhaps should be adding to the game, and so it's something they did add, and every time I step into one of these caves, I'm like, whoa, this is Minecraft. I think that this is something they well over-delivered on. The ore thing is a little bit disappointing. I think, again, more ores could have made the new caves more interesting, but if you count deep slate ores, then wow, look, we have a whole set of new ores. Isn't that wonderful? Yes, that is wonderful. So this is a second thing they definitely did do, and in fact based another whole update around. Speaking of basing whole updates around things, they didn't do that for something as small as the bud switch block. This was a really common request from players, a block update detecting switch, basically something that you could do with redstone, but they wanted it to be possible to just look, have a block that would look at something and be able to detect if something had changed. And if you know your redstone, of course this came to Minecraft. In 1.11, the discovery update, they actually added the observer for the first time, allowing you to have it face face a block and know when that block had changed. This is another big win. Have to give them points for that. Also have to give points for the cherry trees. Number 5 here is another one for the column of things they have achieved. We're at 4-1 right now, which is an incredible ratio. The cherry tree has just been implemented into Minecraft as of the time of recording, actually, and so now there is the brand new cherry blossom biome. There's not only a cherry blossom biome, by the way, but there's also this new cherry wood. It comes in all the varieties. It's beautiful to look at. I really do like it, just like how I would love the idea of colliding clouds, but colliding clouds that physically existed, they're not just clear translucent blocks, where where they physically could collide with each other and stuff like that. These have not come to the game since, and although it's a really interesting idea, I do fail to see how they do this in an interesting way, given that they've raised the height limit so much. It's like, well, I think they could raise the clouds, they could change the clouds, but making them collide might be a bit far, but it's still a second thing they said they would do, which they are not implementing. The third one is a lot more surprising here, the third feature they're not implementing, because vertical redstone was mentioned in the video, and we don't have vertical redstone right now. We have lots of new methods of utilizing redstone, and loads of things have come into the game to help you do more stuff. You can make vertical redstone by making one of these fun redstone torch towers. However, in reality, right now, you can't have redstone run up the side of a building, which is kind of a disappointment, but still, third thing they haven't added yet. I think copper would have been a great example, a great way to do this. I think even just placing redstone on a wall should be possible, but right now, it is not. What a bummer, right? The eighth thing that was mentioned in that original video was designable villages. So this is something you could probably argue both ways. You can't design a village from scratch right now any more than you could back in that day. However, you can debatably, destroy your own village, put your own professions in there, and make the village more in tune with what you like. I'm going to count this as a failure because the way that they describe designable villages would be to have something where you are kind of placing the blocks around from scratch, like I was picturing some more fun GUI, but instead it works in a more Minecrafty way, and so yeah, this is like a half and half point, I would say, but villages also got an entire update. Game modes, however, did not, the ninth feature on this list, because game modes are something we've technically seen a brand new one off since then. So between 2015 and now, we saw spectator mode in 2018 if you're a Minecraft Java player, and 2022 if you're a Minecraft Bedrock player, and this is a great way to fly around the world. It's not really the two new game modes they mentioned though, of Team Survival and Fortress mode. Both of these ideas sound super fun in my opinion. Like, what's more fun than being able to make your own fortress and try to defend this from other players? But they have yet to add it, and honestly, given that it's an idea from Notch, and Notch is I think he's left Minecraft now. Given that that is, the case, I think it's unlikely we'll see these in any time soon, so they're definitely one for the column of not being added. One that's a bit more disappointing in that same column is the 10th feature, Mesa columns. Many biomes have had additions since 2015. Many biomes have had brand new structures added. The Pillager Outpost comes to mind. There's so many different the igloos come to mind. However, since then, we have, there's so many different changes that have not included a Mesa temple. And it's a shame. The Mesa Temple is always one of my go-to great structure ideas. We have a desert temple. The jungle, the desert, and the Mesa are kind of three mysterious places that would perfectly fit a temple, but they did not decide to add one. They have, however, you might argue, decided to add turtles, because turtles do exist in modern-day Minecraft as part of the aquatic update, so wow, add another one to that column, shall we? The 12th suggestion is one that is much more interesting, because the idea of having a hug animation in Minecraft is one that came from a choke April Fool's update, but they did say it would be a great thing to add to Minecraft regular, and that is why when the Bedrock emote system came out, they didn't actually add one there. I guess the emote system has mostly existed during the COVID era, and so do they really want Minecraft players to be hugging in game? That is not social distancing. Stay 2 meters apart, and oh my god, I hate this joke so much. Just long story short here is that hugging could be added to Bedrock any day now, but probably not to Java because there are no emotes there, and also probably not in any real sense of the word, because can you really feel compassion? Can you really feel the warmth of another human being through Minecraft? The answer is yes, and I hope you're feeling that through this video. Hug me, you put your arms around your monitor or your phone right now, and it's like we're having a virtual hug, isn't it? Isn't this nice? Speaking of things that are nice, this is, by the way, going in the not added column. Not yet, but speaking of things that are nice, improved camera controls are something Minecraft has wanted to add for a while. The Resident Evil series, as an example, has a great third and first person design for playing their games. Minecraft, on the other hand, reserves third person for checking out your newest emote or skin for most players. The only other cases where you'd use it, besides to see what you're actually doing, are maybe when you're in a boat to get a further field of view, or on a horse, I think is the other popular example, but using an actual dynamic system where you could play all the way in third person and feel like you're doing good, or play all the way in first person and not feel like you're missing something, is something they've wanted to add since at least 2015, and I don't think they've added any better controls. In fact, given the proliferation of Bedrock and the fact that there's no way to even switch camera controls without going into a menu and clicking clicking the button there, if you're on touch controls, it's not very good, I would say. Speaking of things that aren't very good, scarecrows. Scarecrows, honestly, they're a fun feature. You could argue that Minecraft has added them to the game because, you know, you can scare birds away from your crops by placing an armor stand in your field and putting some leather armor on him. However, there is no scarecrow item just yet, and I think the farming mechanics would have to be made much more complex before it would have any value. And so, yeah, we do need a farming update. Maybe scarecrows could be part of that, but right now, not really. Speaking of right now, not really, the cave and treasure maps are a really good idea, right? Having cave maps that could guide you around a cave, having treasure maps that could point you to treasure, is something that Mojang wanted to add as an extra layer of depth so you could explore your world better, and it's something they partially added. We do have buried treasure maps. We also have the explorer maps from 1.11, so you can find ocean monuments or woodland mansions. But I'm going to make the argument that this feature isn't actually implemented because cave maps are meant to be something the player can use. Right now, cave maps would only work if you remove the entire ceiling, and that is kind of the problem. It'd be nice to have maps that could work underground. I have no idea how they humanly would, but you know what else I have no idea how they humanly work? Fireworks affecting mobs. How could they have fireworks affect mobs in Minecraft? The answer is they worked it out in 1.11. There are officially ways for fireworks to affect mobs and other players because the explosions are physically real, and so if you want to kill a chicken using a firework, then man, you should not be watching this video. Try and find some help. But if you want to kill a chicken with a firework, then Minecraft is now the place to live out your fantasies. And so this is one on the column of they've actually added to the game. Also, they wanted to add in-game lore. They referenced as early as back then. Minecraft is a game where the player basically finds all of the lore. But I would argue that in 1.20 and 1.19, they're adding more and more ways for you to specifically find lore that you can add your own meaning to. So, for example, what is the big portal in the middle of the ancient city? For example, what is the deal with abandoned mine shafts? Who left them there? For example, what the heck even is a shulker? There are so many questions that Minecraft asks us that finding the answer to is actually quite hard, and people love to have their own theories about exactly why that's true. And so the in-game lore is something people absolutely love. There are music discs, there are deep dark structures, there's all these different things, and the question is how and why did they get there, and only the player has the answers. Speaking of player having the answers, a better GUI for command blocks is something they wanted to add for quite some time, and technically speaking, they've added this, if we count the Bedrock edition, because the Bedrock 1.2.0 update brought autocomplete to command blocks, and also made it so it's a slightly nicer function with more options available. Is this a better GUI? Technically speaking, it's going in the achieved column, unlike reindeer, the 19th feature from that video. We have llamas, we have camels, we have all sorts of fun, cutesy things, but we're still awaiting this four-legged mammal, and so will the reindeer come to Minecraft? Who knows? Maybe for a Christmas update sometime, but it's in the unachieved column right now. Speaking of unachieved, portable lighting is something that you really could make an argument either way on this one, because there's no portable lighting right now. You should be able to just put a torch in your offhand, and now you can see around a cave. That is a great idea. Every Minecraft developer and mod has had it. However, Minecraft and Mojang continue to insist that adding this to the game would be too computationally complex, and so it's not in base game Java Edition, but it is, because of the way RTX is implemented, in base game Minecraft Bedrock. If you have a RTX graphic card, there is now like a way to do real lighting that can be moved, but it's still not a full point, I would say. I would say this is at most a half. I'm not going to give this even a half point. I'm going to say that the cave and treasure maps, that's at least half of the thing. Portable lighting has still yet to come anywhere, and so that leaves us with 9 of the 20 features which were officially added to Minecraft and 11 which were not, which means that at some point, you can look at this and you can say, well, they took the 9 they wanted to do the most and they did those, or you could say, wow, they achieved 9 of 20 things that had no timeline on them, so over the next 8 years, from now to 2031, man, that's depressing, but over the next 8 years, then we might see colliding clouds, vertical redstone, designable villages, game modes, such as Team Survival and Fortress, the Mesa Temple, the Hug animation, the improved camera controls, scarecrows, a cave map, as well as, of course, reindeer and portable lighting. That is something I know I'm very excited about in Principle 4, and I want to know what you think is the most exciting feature that hasn't come to the game yet. I think that the blossom trees were my favorite from that original video, so to see them finally come has really, the fact that that's my immediate thought, as well as dozens of other commenters on this channel, is something that makes me wonder, what's your favorite? Let me know in the comments, because I have enjoyed giving you this video. I hope that you find these videos to be informative as always. I love to share Minecraft information, and I always love when there's a new update coming out because it changes the whole landscape of the game. And if you like to see some of the weird things that this leads me to do, then you can subscribe to the channel and maybe consider seeing more of these videos. But for now, thank you for watching, have a nice day, goodbye.